Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So I used to be a guitar player. I used to play a lot of stomp boxes, and at a certain point I felt like the stomp boxes should not be on the floor, they should actually be on a table, and this was like 15 years ago. And I would just sample different musicians in the band and play around with these sounds, or sample myself. I would do vocals or harmonicas or whatever. I wouldn't really even know how to play all these instruments that great, but I would use the textures coming out of them to realize sound ideas that I had in my head. And it was all live improvised, and it was a lot of fun. When I had the chance to actually get my own modular synth last year, this blew my mind, because it's basically, there's no need for the guitar, there's no need for the vocals. You can just do everything with just knobs and switches and buttons and make your own compositions like this. And it can be very intuitive, but it can also be daunting and very much boring, almost not musical. So to avoid this, what I found quite useful is to draw my patches. And what I'm going to do throughout this video is to share my own process of how I come up with a patch that is playable. So I'll be able to play the sound design in such a way that will allow me to experiment, come up with things I don't even know what's going to happen. So a lot of randomization is going to happen as well, but I'll be able to control it. And I'll be able to record it in a snap. So when designing this patch, what I wanted to focus on is, first of all, intuitiveness. Can it be intuitive, and can I play it? This needs to be the core thing in the patch. And the second thing is, I want to make sure that I don't really need to edit afterwards. I really hate even just thinking about this idea of going through a 4-hour session on Ableton, listening to all the sounds, and then like, oh, I'm gonna use this. I want to create some sort of a patch that allows me in a flip of a switch to turn recording on, turn recording off, and then I just have that sample edited already. I don't need to do post-production after this. Do this. So these, where is it? Some weights. These kind of drawings, they really help me realize ideas. I get confused, and if I just go patching right away, I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time. So instead of doing that, I try to make illustrations to realize my ideas first on paper, and then when I have them defined on paper, then I go and I build the patch. So I tried to do this a bit earlier here, but I think it's quite confusing, so just for the sake of explanation, I'm going to try to do this here better. There are a few components in this patch. There are the sound sources, so let's add them here. Sound sources are going to be these large boxes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is Plaits. 1 is Plonk. Another one is Kickall. And the last one is Basimilus Iteritas Alter. All these are going to go directly to an amplifier, but before the amplifier, they're actually, what I want to do is when I trigger Plaits, for example, it might have a very long decay. Or maybe I wanted to have a very short decay, or maybe I wanted to start with a very short attack and jump fast to a decay and stay with that sound. I want to have maybe a different thing for Plonk, I want to have a different thing for Kickall. So then when I mix them all together, it might be that the sound starts with Plonk, then it decays, then there's Plaits coming in, and then Kickall and Basimilus, and it all comes together to one sound in the end. So the way I'm going to do this is I'll need an amplifier, right? So if I have an amplifier here, this is a voltage controlled amplifier with 4 inputs. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs coming from here. So these are inputs. And this is an amp. Amps, because it's actually 4 amplifiers, it's not just one, it's 4 amplifiers. Let's make this a little bit nicer. So, amps. Okay. These amps, they have an input, they have an output, and they also have CV. And the CV needs to be controlled by an envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 4 envelopes here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are my lovely envelopes. That's my icon of an envelope for now. So an envelope can allow me to control how does the sound move in time. Does it trigger right away and decays immediately, or does it is it really snappy? Is it very long? So I can control Plaits on its own. So this would be the it doesn't really matter. Let's just make this as an input, as an output actually. So this will go directly here, this will go directly here, this will go directly here, and this will go here. The amplifier, oh god damn it, so this is the CV. This is CV, this is out. Out. So the output goes to my final mixer. Here I actually have a mixer. So let's have a volume knob for 4 sound sources. And this is the input. And this output will go like this into the input of the mixer. Then the mixer will also have an output, but this is just going to be a stereo output. So this is the stereo output that goes into delay. So this is my box here. This is my output that goes to a delay. It actually is stereo, but I will sum it up into one because these are just samples. These are like drum samples. So I'm creating some sort of a funnel here to just send this to one. So I have 4 sound sources going into individual amplifiers controlled by these envelopes sent to a mixer. I can control the volume of them now, and then I go into a delay. So this is going to be the 4ms delay, which is a digital delay. With lots of functionality. So I could create stuff like Carpus Strong here. Yeah, this would actually be quite useful. I'm not using one of my oscillators here. So Dixie. So I'm not using my oscillator here. One of my oscillators is Dixie. It can control the speed of the 4ms delay, which can be quite useful because then I can create Carpus Strong synthesis here. And there are lots of videos about Carpus Strong, so I'm not going to go into detail here. And to be honest, I don't really know much about it. I'm just going to play around with it and see what works. But this is Dixie. It's another square wave that will be sent here into the 4ms, to the clock of the 4ms. Let's make a clock here. Okay, so this is the clock. And then this output is going to go to the Befaco delay. So this is the crush delay, which can add a lot of texture to the sound. It's massive. So this is crush delay. This is the output of this guy going directly to the crush delay, and then from the crush delay I can go to a filter. Let's put the filters here. So I need 2 filters actually. This is my So this is one filter. This is a low pass, and this is a band pass. And the reason I'm splitting this sound, or actually sending it to these two, this is like this, and this goes in like that. So it is being split to both of these because I want to be able to control. It might be that I have a sound that just needs to be like on mid-range frequencies. It might be that I have a sound that needs to be very low, or it might be that I need a sound that has the low and the high and the mid, and I need to control it. So with a filter I'll be able to split the sound and tune the amount of low frequencies and amount of high frequencies. So I think this can be quite handy to have at the end of the chain when I do the sound design here. And then I might want to have another envelope here, another amplifier, another envelope. I'm not really sure. Oh, I do have one, yeah. So I could send this directly. So the mix of these two. So this is going to be another. Is it a mixer? Yeah, but I'm not going to use the volume of it, but it is a mixer. So this is a mixer for these two sounds. And then this mixer goes directly to an amplifier. And the amplifier has an input. It has an output. And it has CV. Out, in. And then this CV is going to be coming from another envelope, so there's an envelope here. This is probably going to be maths. So maths controls the CV of this amplifier, and it also controls the same sound, the same envelope will also control the filters. Because then I'll be able to also open the filter a little bit or close the filter a little bit with this envelope. And the trigger to the envelope is going to come from the same trigger. So this just has one trigger, this whole thing, but I'll get to this in a second. So this output, this amplifier output, is going to go to one place, my sampler. And this is where the magic happens, because this will allow me to speed up the process of editing quite drastically. What happens is that this is the input of the sampler, and it has a trigger. So I'm going to create a trigger here. This is my trigger. This massive trigger is being sent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, where was I here? 9 and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every time that this is going to hit, it's going to trigger all the sound to go through all this madness and then end up in the sampler. But here there's going to be a switch. Probably gonna use here Mutes from DivKid. because then I'll be able to control the recording. So if I like the sound, this is a question mark. If I like the sound, I can put it directly to the sampler. If I don't like the sound, or I'm like, you know, this is going to be playing for a while, until I tweak the sound to my liking, this is completely off. And the only thing that I'm doing is monitoring this. So let me just finish this drawing. So this sampler has an output, and this output goes to my headphones. So this is a monitor. And these are my headphones. Okay, so this is my sampler. It goes to, it's monitored with my headphones, but it doesn't record. It records only when I trigger this. When I turn this on, then it records. This is the basic patch. Now, to make this a bit more engaging and to maybe play, like to add a bit more playfulness, although there is a lot to play with here, and I think this could work. We'll see in a bit. But one of the things that I always like adding is some randomness. I want to be surprised from things that might happen. So to do this, I can use something like marbles, for example. So marbles, this is going to be the magic corner. Let's make some sparks. Magic corner has marbles in it, and it has tides in it. Both of these are going to be sending triggers or voltage control to here. So here I'm going to have lots of inputs from these sound sources that will be connected to the 4 outputs of tides, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Not really. 3 and 3, I don't know, whatever. All these outputs can go to here and to here as well. So all this comes from marbles and tides to play with this and to be able to tame this and control it in such a way that would be meaningful, and like I just need to add some control so it doesn't go wild. I'm going to be using another switched multiple here. So the switched multiple is going to allow me to decide, well, this goes in, this doesn't go in. So I have 8 inputs that are also outputs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what I do is I send one. I don't know how this is going to work. Well, I'll need only like 1 output of marbles and 1 output of tides, or maybe I'll modulate tides with marbles, something like that. I'm not really sure, but here I have only 2 inputs. So these are 2 inputs that come from here. And then they can be sent to different places here. So I can use this to control Plaits, use this to control Plonk, use this to control... And then I could decide, okay, this takes this or that. I'm not really sure, but there could be something here. I don't know. Okay, the output of Optomix, which is my amplifier, my final amplifier after the delay and after everything, is going directly to this amplifier here, and this one goes directly to my recorder. And this recorder is also recording my voice and recording directly into the camera, so I don't really need to edit my video and audio of the video. So this is what you see here. Now let's start from the beginning. At the beginning I have Plaits, Plonk, Kickall and Basimilus, and they're all connected to an amplifier. So I have the A135-2, the quad VCA voltage controlled amplifier here, and what I can do is take a couple of short cables. These probably are a bit too short. 1, 2, 3. And 4. So input from the output of Plaits, that's my first channel. Then my second channel is Basimilus, then my third channel is Plonk, and my fourth channel is Kickall. These are my 4 tracks. Now we don't really hear anything because I need to send the outputs into the mixer and I need to trigger these. So to do that I'm going to take 4 cables. That's gonna be 1 cable going, so that's channel 4 going into channel 4 in this mixer. No, that's not true. Envelopes. Oh yeah, that's true. So this goes into the mixer, so 1, and then channel 2 is Plonk. This goes here. Another one that is Basimilus, and then I've got Plaits. So I've got these 4 channels going out, and I can't really hear them because the mix is not going anywhere. The mix should actually go to... So the stereo mix from here is going to go into this mixer or this mixer. That doesn't really matter. Actually, I'm not really sure if I can do that. I'll need to mix the sounds before I put them into A and B on the dual looping delay. Yeah, I guess I'll have to use one of these amps here. Okay, so let's just use an amp here. This one is just getting the sound from here, and then one output with a short cable goes directly into the input of the delay. Then the delay goes also with a short cable, I think. So the output, let's say output B, is going to go directly into the input of the crush delay, and crush delay is going to go, so crush delay goes to the 2 filters, so it needs to be split. So I'll probably need a longer cable here. Crush delay output goes into my other amplifier. One. Oh yeah, so, oh yeah, because I need to split it. So I actually need to send this to 2 different filters. So what I'm gonna do is I'll use one of these guys to just flip, just to split the sound. That's gonna go into the input of this filter and the input of this filter. Now, let's just put this under here. So now the sound is being fed to 2 different filters. And these filters, the output of the filters is going to go, is going to be mixed here. So let's take these 2 cables, connect them from the input here, another input here. These are 2 inputs. One is taking the low pass filter and the other one is taking the bandpass filter. And then I've got these 2. Is this the output or the input? I never know with this amplifier. No, this is definitely. I need to test this. I always get confused with this. So let's take this and here. So this is the input, this is the output. That's good. Okay, so let me get this back into my final amplifier. All right. This is the low pass, this is the band pass. So I'm just gonna open them completely. The bandpass I'm gonna put in the center, no resonance at all. And now this output will be fed into my final amplifier and then to the sampler. So actually this is not supposed to be connected here, this is supposed to be connected here. This is my final output. The final output is whatever the sampler is getting. And this just needs a very short cable to go from this output, actually this output, into this. And then this output here, so the amplifier is gonna go into my recorder. Right. Now, theoretically, I should actually hear sound. And I do. That's good. Crush delay. Oh yeah. That is pretty cool. Okay, so I've got everything now set up here. I need to control everything with CV. So what I need to do after I put everything to the 4MS, then I go to the crush delay, then I go to the filter, I mix everything, and then I put it into the amp. The math's supposed to control everything, as math does. This is the legendary maths, and I'm just going to use the 4th channel. I'm using it in the simplest way possible. This guy is so fragile. Let's put it here. I'm just using it as a simple envelope. So the output of my envelope goes directly. The output of my envelope goes directly into the Optimix control, and I'll need to send it a trigger, and this trigger is actually going to be coming from this multiple because everything is going to be triggered at the same time. Then this will look probably something like, well, I'll need all my very long cables for this. As long as possible, the better. The longer, the better. Check. Yeah, just double checking that I am actually recording this. This is my input. This is my trigger input. It's gonna go behind here, directly into here. And this trigger is gonna be coming from Pamela New Workout, I guess. Let's do that. So let's just take a long pink cable, turn this on. Pamela's New Workout is the king of clocks. Let's put this in here. And now if I send this is opening now the envelope, so if I put this in here now, see? This is my master envelope. Cool. Now the magic is gonna start. So this is only the low pass filter, and this is just the bandpass filter. So I can really get this sound. I think I just need a bit more volume here. Okay. Now I can add bass. Cool. Let's just open this completely. And what I want to do now is, first of all, I'll just keep this like that. Okay, I need to control all of these with the envelopes here and one envelope there. So all my sound sources, they need to have an envelope controlling them, so I'll be able to really tame the sound the way that I want. The way that I'm going to do this is by connecting CV control. So channel 1 is going to be controlled by using stages here as 3 envelopes. Just attack and decay. So 1, then another one. This is my second. This is my third envelope. And then my fourth one is gonna come from maths as well, because I don't really have another option. So this is gonna come from the back of this to here. Okay, so now I've got 4 controls, and so 4 for each source. They go through the amp, and the amp will be open just if the envelope is going to be open. So if I close the amp completely, we don't really hear anything. And when I'll send a clock, so let's take another cable to connect the clock to here. Now we can actually hear 1. Let's connect this to here. This is 2. Then I'll need a third one, also coming from the same trigger. And then I'll need a fourth one to go over there. Just use another very long cable. This one is gonna go here, and we'll trigger this guy. Well, this does not really have a sound source, this is just an envelope. This is the trigger, but this is I confuse myself. Minutes. This is the sound source, and then it goes through this, and it doesn't really have a clock. It doesn't need a clock. This one has a clock, and this clock needs to control this guy, and then the output of it should go, what? No, this is the envelope. So now this doesn't really get an input because the input comes from here. I don't know. Let's go through something else. I need to connect another trigger to trigger trigger Basimilus, trigger Kickall, and Plaits is being triggered, so it doesn't need any trigger. And I'll need another trigger. I think I've got it. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Yeah. So now I've got four sounds. Okay, so I've got four sources going through the amplifier, the voltage controlled amplifier, then through the envelope, then through a mixer, then to the 4ms delay. I still need to have that Carpus strong thing going on, so I'll need to patch my square into here. This is too short. My square, patch it to here, and now so you see how it actually sounds like sort of a guitar? this is just the kick. Let's see what happens if I send Basimilus to it. Okay, well, that's for later. So, I'm almost done. The last thing I need to do is to connect the mutes, so it will send a trigger for recording just when I tell it to. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'll need the trigger out to go directly to here, and I need one of these triggers to go in here. So I'm just going to split this guy here. Yeah, I could probably do it even shorter. So I'll just take this trigger that's triggering Plonk, add this cable here, put it through here and send it to here. Now, when I turn this on, it records. And then I send it another one and it stops. That's it. So this is super handy because now let's make so let's say that I like this sound. Let's say that I like this sound. Let's say that I like this. I can slow it down and then make a sample out of it. So I'm just gonna, I like it, turn it on, boom, it recorded, it stopped. That's it. That's it. So it captured this piece. Now to test if I am correct, I can send this here. Yes. Okay, it has that last bit in the end, but I will live with it. So this is now, I just need to, yeah, like this, that's it. Cool, so this is actually working, and that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. If you stayed that long and you can actually hear this message, then you should definitely subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next week. So the sounds I'm trying to design are metallic, concrete, wood, construction site. I'm still working on the same project for the depot. So I'm gonna go for things that sound sort of like this. Yes. Okay. So I'm completely open here at the top. Now I can control only this. This is cool. Now I can add a kick to it. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Just gonna record a bunch of these. 1, 2. Cool. Record. So all this randomization is coming from Tides, obviously. Tides is manipulating Plaits on clock. And I don't really know what to expect. This is cool. That's cool.